Okay, so today we are going to talk about the 3 ways that you are potentially killing your business. This is very simple. 3 different factors: audience, pricing, and sales that we're going to get into. Who am I? My name is Richard Dixon. Yes, I'm the guy wearing a dirty t-shirt. I didn't realise this t-shirt was dirty, but you've got me now. I've built 2 7-figure businesses. I'm 20 years old. First one about, I was 25. I've helped multiple people scale to 6 and 7 figures in revenue using paid advertising and digital marketing strategies online. And I'm here to help you via YouTube, like your YouTube mentor or whatever. I don't know how you want to think of it, but I'm going to show you how you might accidentally be destroying your business. Now, caveat to this, you could potentially have a really good business and still be doing some of these things. This is not to create an argument in the comment section. This is not to make you think that your business isn't quite as good. You should see it as an opportunity for you to apply some of this stuff and actually be better. So let's start to break it down. Well, number 1 is this thing right here, audience. By the way, this is meant to be a sad face. I've realized it kind of looks like Patrick from SpongeBob, like detached in a Rayman style of thing. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. But the first thing we're going to talk about is audience. Audience is so important with this stuff because it is likely that you're accidentally targeting the absolutely wrong people. Now, I don't just mean targeting when it comes to paid advertising. That is part of it, yes. This could be organic. This could be with the networking events that you go to. This could be with the communities and the, the coaching programs you might have invested in, the people you're talking to in there. You could be getting this stuff all wrong. So here is my audience framework. We call this the Avatar framework, not the blue people from that movie. And I just spelled Avatar wrong, by the way. So you're getting advice from a guy who spelled Avatar wrong, and then basically the R that he put in, he's tried to turn it into an A, right? I'm just letting you know. So you can jump off this video right now and never watch another thing if you want, right? So there is 4 key foundations to the Avatar. Number 1 is going to be age. No, and I nearly spelled age wrong. Oh my goodness, what's wrong with me today? Right? Age, location, gender, and employment, right? I'm just gonna put job because if I try and spell employment at this time in the morning, clearly I'm gonna get it wrong somehow, right? So these are the foundations of what we call our avatar. Now, the reason why these things are important, I'll go through them one by one, is age. Well, you need to know how you're targeting these people. People of different age brackets are targeted on different platforms on social media. If I was to ask you, where do you find your customers? I'm not strictly just talking about physical locations. That's not just strictly the golf club, the old folks home for some of you maybe, right? Different people maneuver around the internet in different ways. If you don't know what age you're targeting, one, you're not going to be able to actually select the right targeting on your things like Meta ads, on your Google ads, on Bing, whatever it is you're choosing to run traffic. It's just not going to work, right? And you're maybe going to get the platform specific places that you need to be to target the right people. Totally wrong, completely wrong. So for me, I'll go through my avatar just now. I know that my avatar for my coaching business, Growth Getters, we help business owners, probably just like yourself, scale paid ads, build automations, optimize funnels, all that kind of stuff, right? So I know that my age is roughly 25 to 45 for the majority of our attendees. Now, just because, so that you know 100%, just because you can sell from say 18 to 65 plus, that is the people you can sell to. We're not just thinking about who we can sell to, we're thinking about the people who are most likely to use our product or service. If you already have a business, you've already had customers come through, you have data, right? An opinion means nothing in the face of data, absolutely nothing. So if you can see from the data you've had 100 customers in the history of your business, and you know that out of those 100 customers, 60 or 70% fall in a specific 20-year, 25-year age bracket, that is your main avatar. That it's not about who you can sell to, it's about who you sell to the most, right? So I know that for us, it's 25 to 45. In terms of location, well, I teach digital stuff, so I could sell in America, I could sell in England, I could sell in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, any of those places, but for me, my focus has always been right here where I am in Scotland. And by the way, because we do a lot of physical in-person education, actually getting people on the laptops, sometimes the whole of Scotland is bigger than you realise, right, is not applicable for our programme. There's cities in Scotland that are 6 hours away from where we are right now in Glasgow, which is pretty hard for people to get to. So for me, I'm just gonna say WOS, which is west of Scotland. So I know that when I am creating content, I'm creating ads, all that kind of stuff, I need to create them with those types of people in mind. Now, why does that matter? Well, that could be the type of comedy that I use, the hooks that I use that speak to those types of people. That could be just to make sure I don't accidentally spend money targeting people in India, in Africa, in America, which, by the way, in my career, I absolutely have done. I have set up ads and not had a clue what I was doing, clicked go and get an influx of leads, and boom, they're from like a country 5,000 miles away, right? right? Gender is also important. Now, I find for me, the majority of people I work with are men, around about 75%. So I make quite a lot of my ads male dominated, right? So I know that it's majority gonna be men. I think just in a numbers game wise, there's more male entrepreneurs, at least here in Scotland anyway, but we do work with a lot of women, which I personally do love. But I would be lying if I said that, oh yeah, we get 50-50 on both sides, it's majority men. What I'm trying to do is create a little framework here whereby for every pound, for every dollar, for every dirham, for every euro, whatever it is that you spend on your paid advertising, you get the biggest return back. There is ways, by not getting this stuff right, and a few small other things that I've probably spoken about in other YouTube videos, that for every dollar or pound that you spend, you're getting like 20 pence or 20 cents of value, which is really scary. If I offered you a real estate investment opportunity and said, hey, it's 100,000 in, you're gonna get 20,000 back, you'd be like, oh, awesome, 20,000, that's like a really good return on top of my 100,000. No, I'm gonna keep the 80,000 and give you 20,000 back. You would hate it and not do it, so not doing this stuff is gonna cause that to happen inside of your paid advertising, your organic, whatever it may be. And job is generally to do with affordability. Now for me, it's very easy. I am B2B, right? I'm business to business, so I just say, biz owner, right? But if you are dealing with, buying distressed properties, and you have some data to show the type of people that you work with, you will see there might be a pattern with the level of seniority in those jobs. There might be a pattern with the industry. If you have an industry specific product, let's say you're a coach and you're like, I am a fitness coach that helps men who are C-suite executives in finance regain control of the body without having to not go to the office party or whatever it may be, right? You're gonna be able to say, well, okay, I work inside of the finance sector. If it's construction, it might just be homeowners. We try and make this stuff as niche as possible. Just with this here, right? If you're not already doing this, you're not clear on this, because most people, when you say, who's your ideal customer? Ha ha ha, someone who can afford it, anyone with a credit card. Like, yeah, boom, boom, that's very funny. You also need to have data to substantiate how you're going to build audiences and how you're actually going to target these people, or you're going to have a pretty hard time. Just by having this, just this one little bit here, is going to make a massive difference, a huge difference when it comes to the value you get from your paid ads, from the type of people you surround yourself with. This is like your tuna. You're fishing, you're trying to catch tuna, and this is your tuna. Where are you gonna catch tuna? Well, I'm not actually 100% sure. I'm pretty sure you can catch it in like the Mediterranean and stuff like that. You're not gonna go to like Loch Lomond in Scotland, or a puddle outside your office with a fishing rod and be confused as to why you're not catching tuna. This is the whole point I'm making. You need to go where the people that you want are present. It is going to be very unsurprising when you don't do that and you're actually not making any money. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is your pricing structure, right? And 99.9% of entrepreneurs, business owners, whatever you want to call yourself, self-employed people, start charging way too little, way too little. And if you start charging way too little, your price increases are probably always lagging behind what you can actually charge. It's not about industry average. It's not about what you think is a good living. It's not about, just replacing your income from a previous job. If I could show you a way that you have £1,000, $1,000 service, and I could show you a way to change nothing about it, just make your sales better and your offer better, your deliverables don't change, you could sell it for 5,000, would you be against it or would you want it? Well, of course you would want it if it still has great outcomes, right? I'm gonna assume that you guys watching this are all good at what you do. You're not like completely crap at your job and trying to sell like total nonsense to people. So that part is ticked off, and that's the most important bit. You need to have a good service, right? I'm not here to teach you how to be a better bricklayer, how to be a better biohacker, how to be a better web developer, none of that stuff, right? So pricing is the next big one. Let's see if my spelling has improved. Yeah, boom, spell pricing correctly, that's awesome. So pricing is generally you're too cheap. Right? So that's step one. Why are you too cheap? That is the question that people ask. Well, most of us, when we go into the world of entrepreneurship, we have had employment before. For me personally, I went and done an apprenticeship. For my Americans, that's like going to trade school. So I'm an electrician in terms of my profession. I have, by the way, just in case you're wondering, 0 business qualifications, 0 digital marketing qualifications, none of that stuff. My only qualifications are being an electrician, which doesn't really help with my subject matter today, right? It's just experience and money spent and businesses grown that's allowed me to be able to be, I guess, have some authority to talk on these topics. The reason you're too cheap is what you do is you gear the pricing of your business or your service to what you earned as an employee. So let's say you're someone who is earning like 50K a year, like pounds. It's like $65,000. So that's like good money in terms of a salary. That is really, really good money. You decide you want to go out on your own and do your own thing. You want to build your own business, build your own income, whether you're building a team or you're not, you just want to be self-employed and do your own thing. you're automatically gonna gear what you believe you should be paid to this number right here. Now let me ask you a question. If you're employed right now or you're in your business, do you think you're getting paid what you're worth? If you are watching me right now through this screen and you're like, yeah, I think I'm getting paid what I'm worth, you're probably wrong or crazy or not money motivated or any of those things, right? When you gear it to this, you think, okay, well, if I can replace my 50K a year through my own business, I'm gonna be very, very happy. Very low benchmark, not a good enough thing to aim for, in my opinion. And honestly, the stress that comes with running a business, I would love to say running a business is super easy. Running a business is no problem, you're never gonna be stressed out. I would kinda be lying to you. That's why I like doing business to business videos, because you made the choice to become an entrepreneur. I didn't make it for you, right? So you will look at this and you'll think, okay, if I can replace that 50K, people start to forget about taxes, accountancy, HR support, the things you need to pay for inside of a business, regardless of what it is you do, materials, blah, 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 right? Tech, all that kind of stuff. You can't really start a business with nothing. You need at least like, a laptop or a phone or whatever, and that stuff costs money and needs fixed and needs maintained. So straight away, you're gonna be devaluing your 50K, devaluing your time. If you get paid £20 an hour just now, $20 an hour, and you as an entrepreneur feel like, oh my goodness, I could get paid $50 an hour, that's gonna feel really good. Until you realize you're doing just as much work, you've got a lot more costs, you're dealing with a lot more stress, you're gonna struggle with switching off. These are all things you're gonna have to deal with as an entrepreneur. I have no special hack to get around them. This is part of the game, it's what you signed up for. So when you gear to this thing here, or the industry average, oh no, Richard, in my industry, everyone's like $500 a day, £500 a day, that is just the industry average. Who says you have to be the industry average? Who told you you have to do that? Nobody, right? That was your choice to conform with the industry average. And do you know what the main thing that is gonna change you from aiming for 50K and maybe hitting 50K a little bit more and becoming someone who in your first year in business maybe is doing 100K personal income or more, scaling your business really fast to 50K a month, 60K a month, 100K a month? The thing that changes that is not the service. It's not your qualifications. It's not your mindset. It's not the clothes that you wear. It's one thing, and it's your marketing. That is the only thing that changes it. Coca-Cola is not the most delicious drink in the world. It's absolutely not the most delicious drink in the world. I quite like it sometimes, but it's not the best. But they are the biggest drinks manufacturer, most profitable drinks business in the world. Why? Well, it's clearly not because of the product, it's because of the marketing. That is why they're able to make so much money, right? So we can all agree right now that it's never the best product that wins, it's always the best marketing. So if you're not getting clear on stuff like your avatar, the platforms on which you advertise, you're not getting some skills on learning how to actually run paid ads, and you're just going, I have a business, word of mouth, post in Facebook groups, hey, I'm open for business, and you think that's gonna bring you in amazing, high quality, high ticket, top paying clients, at best, you are ignorant. At worst, you're just being stupid, right? So if you don't want to be too cheap anymore and you want to make a little bit more money, it's not about just waking up one day and saying, okay, I'm gonna go from charging $1,000 a day for my service to $10,000. It's about marketing yourself better and presenting your offer better. And that all starts with the avatar and targeting the right people. And the last thing what is the last thing? Gary, what's the last thing I'm talking about? I spoke about audience, I spoke about pricing. Sales process. Guys, I'm an expert, right? But sometimes, because I used to fight and I've been punched in the head loads of times, I forget, right? So it's sales, but I'm not forgetting the subject matter. That's what matters, right? So sales, not having the correct sales process. Now, one of the worst industries in the world for this is self-employed people inside of construction. And I have a great example for that, my father, right? Now, my dad, I built a funnel for him very recently. I've started running ads for him, so he's been getting leads in. I've changed his whole sales process. I've been having to coach and mentor and train my own dad, which is quite interesting when he was the person that coached, mentored and trained me as an electrician. So it's a little bit of a full circle moment from me. And he is not the most open to criticism all the time, sometimes a little bit stubborn, as many fathers are, but that is just part of the game, right? So his sales process, like many self-employed construction people, and you might be doing this inside of your beauty salon, you might be doing this inside of your consultancy business, whatever it may be. My dad would go and price a job for someone, say they're getting their house rewired or something like that, and he would be there for half an hour, 45 minutes, chatting to the customer, write out a quote for them, present them the quote, let's say it's £5,000, and the person would go, oh, okay, that's fantastic. I'm just gonna get another couple of quotes, chat to some more people, and I'll get back in touch if I want to proceed. Step number one in anything to do with sales, if someone tells you they're gonna call you back, just don't believe them. It's never gonna happen, right? It is your job to phone and get the deal done. But what my dad would do in that situation is say, hey, Mrs. Smith, absolutely no problem. He would go out to his van and then he would get really angry. He'd be like, can't believe I just spent all that time on that quote and the person's gonna go and get other, quotes and I'm gonna have to wait here and see if this person's gonna give me the job, right? Now, number one, I get why someone would feel like that. Number two, nobody owes you anything for doing a quote. And number three, the difference between getting that job on the day and not is your sales. This doesn't matter if you're selling through DM, you're selling through an e-commerce store, you're selling on the phone, you're selling on Zoom, or you're selling in person. It literally does not matter. It's up to you to get the sales done. So when you approach sales with what I call questions, right? So what is an a question, right? An question is when you ask something, firstly with no confidence, and two, that is easy to deflect. So let's say the person doesn't call you back and you phone them, and it goes something like this. Hey, I haven't had a call back, and I was just wondering, have you had another quote? Was there a quote that was better than ours? How come you're not using us? These are all such easy questions to deflect and get away from. Oh yeah, we've had another quote, we're not looking to proceed at the moment. What we use, a strategy that I use for nearly everything to do with sales inside of my business and inside the businesses that I coach, right, is a thing called assumptive closing, right? So what is being assumptive? Well, instead of asking questions, it's telling people things, right? So when you are phoning back up about that quote that you left for the new bathroom suite, or to change the person's windows, or to replace a door, or whatever it may be, you call them back up. Hey, Mrs. Smith, I haven't heard back from you, but I know that we gave you an absolutely incredible quote. You'll be really, really pleased with the type of work that we leave. I was just wondering, have you got a time in mind now that we can actually get this job started? So you've assumed positivity, then asked them when they can get started. Now it's their job to fight back with you to show you why they're using someone else, why they're considering using someone else. Now let's say Mrs. Smith says, actually, we've had another couple of quotes back and we're just reviewing them just now, so we'd like to have a little bit of time to think about it. That's where many people would drop off. Okay, no problem, I'll phone you tomorrow, whatever it may be. There's nothing wrong with asking people what it is they have to think about. There's just nothing wrong with that. What is it you have to think about? I'm just wondering, because we can give you a rockstar service, we're stacked with reviews and customer testimonials, we're great at what we do, our price is very fair. What is it you have to think about? Because if you're gonna go and think about it and there's any questions you have about our service, I would love to be able to give you an answer just now to make sure you're 100% fully informed. Just going through a little bit of assumption, a little bit of pressing with your questions. And by the way, this is not about becoming a hard salesperson. This is not about pressure selling people into things. I think stuff like that's disgusting. But what it is having confidence in your product and a willingness to ask a question. That's what it is. If you believe you've got a good product, a good service, why not sell it a little bit harder? Why not market a little bit harder? All you're doing is restricting the growth of your own business, which if you're watching this video and you've got this far along, which most of you probably haven't, you don't want to do that anyway. You don't want to just leave these things up to chance. So actually having a sales process, having, a set of questions, a loose script framework, go and use ChatGPT to help you make one, right? Like, depending on your industry, there's going to be different things and nuances. Go and use something like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Jasper, Copilot, any of these large language model AI systems to help you make your script, a nice simple script. I remember back when I was first selling inside my first business, which was a property real estate based business, I would call people and the phone would be ringing, and in my head I would be saying, please, please, please let this go to answer machine. Like, I would be desperate for it to go to answer machine, and I'd be like holding my breath waiting for them to answer. It would stop ringing and I'd be like, oh, the person's about to answer, and then it'd be like, you have been forwarded to the O2, and I would be like, ah. I was not an expert salesperson, right? This stuff that you might be going, oh, that would make me feel quite uncomfortable. I've been through all this, right? But if you care about the growth of your organization, you care about making money, you care about actually benefiting your family and giving people a killer service, forget your benefits for a second, giving people a killer service, which I know you can go and do, then all of this stuff matters. Audience, pricing, and sales. These are the three things that if you can get them even 10% better, it's gonna have a vast hundreds of percent improvement inside of your organization. If you've got sales tips, audience tips, you've got pricing tips that you're using as an entrepreneur right now, leave them down in the comments. I would love to see them, and I'll catch up with you very, very soon. Peace.